Welcome to a basketball preview from pregame.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo along with Vegas Runner. We're going to kind of set the stage for college basketball, a little NBA action. It's basketball time now. We've got the football season's winding down. We've got 4 games this week, 2 games next week, and then the Super Bowl and football season's over.
And then it's the daily grind of college basketball and NBA, and bettors are already making their way over. Every book I spoke to has started getting a little more volume as soon as the main bowls ended after New Year's, but this week, it's really starting to pick up, and towards the end of last week, the weekend they said was really good.
Well, this is a situation, and you're the numbers guy, but tell me if I'm wrong. When you get to this point of the season where you've got that crossover, people that weren't betting basketball yet, they were still betting football, and the bowl games wind up, they're done, and you only got a few NFL playoff games left. The casual bettor starts making his way over and betting on a daily basis. So what you have in that first couple weeks now, you've got an adjustment. The lines, before you'd see the true moves, there'd be line moves, and you could recognize more easily steam from public.
Yeah, and those lines also, Marco, were geared more towards defending the sports books against the wise guys. So they were as strong as a line as the odds maker could put out. Not that they're not beatable. Obviously, we've seen from the line moves and from their fear of putting out totals early on that they think the wise guys and the outfits numbers are sharper than theirs, but they are as strong as the odds maker could make them because he knows he's going up against the wise guys. Now, though, public perception gets weighed into the equation, and by building more volume, getting more public bettors, they could put out a weaker number and still make more money, if you know what I mean, because they're not as worried that the wise guy money is going to, outweigh, the public money. Now, obviously, on added games and on schools, that
smaller,
exactly. They know that they got to put out a little sharper number, but on these high-profile schools, they're more worried about public perception than they are beating the outfits.
Which the other thing that I got to say at this point in time, till we get that common ground and everything balances itself out after we get a few more weeks into the season, guys that rely solely on betting percentage sites, you got to be careful.
Danger.
Because if you do not know how to read public money, sharp money, moves.
Example, 2 nights ago, Louisville, Villanova. Every public site was saying how overwhelming the money was on Villanova.
Mm-hmm.
Every book I spoke to said nothing could be further from the truth. And you got to be careful. Them betting sites, they see a ranked team and they're going to put 80% of the money on that. That's where the money is, or the ticket count, let's say. But it's not where the money is. There's a difference, fellas, between ticket count and money. Books are interested in money wagered. They're not interested in ticket count. They don't care if they write 100 tickets on Villanova. If they write 3 tickets on Louisville, that is more than those 100 tickets are worth, the money's on Syracuse for them, on Louisville for them. It's no longer on Villanova, even though they wrote, that's where the public may be. So you really got to be careful when you look at sites that offer betting percentages based on ticket count, not actual money bet. 2 totally different things.
Absolutely. And when you're in college basketball, once you shift from December to January, it's a different handicap because now in December, the conferences take over. In December, you've got matchups. To me, December basketball is more like March Madness because you have holiday tournaments.
All the Maui Invitationals and
you have teams that play teams that they don't generally play.
Right.
They may have scheduled a home and home 2 consecutive years.
Correct.
Or you might have some situations where teams aren't in the same conference, but they're in the same state. So they schedule, unlike football that schedules rivalries at the end of the season, they schedule them in December. So you've got a different flavor of game. So now when you enter conference play, you got to be able to distinguish the strength of schedule.
That's so huge, brother, because what happens is there's some teams that are 3-8 that are going to win their conference.
Yeah.
That are monsters.
That have played.
But what happened is they have such a tough out-of-conference schedule. You know, they go up against the big schools, the North Carolinas, against the Gonzagas, against the Dukes. And, you know, that's their out-of-conference schedule. And, of course, they're going to get beat up in those games. But what you're not looking at is they're maturing, they're learning. They're getting together as a cohesive unit. Now when they get in the conference play and they're facing a weak opponent, it becomes easy for them. You know what I mean? When you see Carolina and Duke running gun on you, and now all of a sudden, you know, you're seeing Montana State, it becomes a little easier to play.
Right.
So you got to be, you know, dig a little deeper than the overall record. And the big edge bettors also have with basketball is this. It's every day. Any sport that's every day is such a huge advantage to the bettor because the odds maker has only a certain amount of time to put out a number. And many times they go strictly off power ratings and nothing more. I mean, they might sprinkle a little public perception in there when they know it's a high-profile team, but 90% of that number is based on nothing more than power ratings. And if you do your homework with that amount of games, you could pick your spots. And I always say the number one weapon that we as bettors have, the number one advantage that we as bettors have over the sports books is that we have the ability to pass. We have the ability to choose. They have to put out a number for every game. We don't have to bet every game.
But an even bigger edge that I think that basketball presents over any other sport. First of all, you've got a bigger sampling every day of games to pick from. So you can find those spots that you're just talking about. But bankroll exposure. In football season, you work all week looking at games for 2 days. And the Saturday card is
narrow
huge.
Down your 5 best, your 5 best pro.
Even if you're, sometimes you're at 7 plays, whatever. Because I mean, it's college. It's college football. There's a big card. You work all week. You can't help but find these plays. You expose your bankroll. It's the nature of the beast. All of the games are played on one day. But when you come to basketball, you could play just 3 games a day, and at the end of the week, you've got 21 games into action. So you've now taken 21 jabs at the book. Little boom, boom, boom. Three, you know, 3
Instead of having
time.
to knock them out all in one day.
Right.
But the key is to be disciplined and understand that when you're betting 3 games, that don't mean that now you should be betting more because it's only 3 games. Like say you have a dime bankroll and you have 5 football games, so all you could do is put 2-2-2. But since you have a dime bankroll and 3 basketball games, that don't mean you should now be going 3-3-3. You understand?
Right. And you play it at the end of the week. You've got more money into action than you would ever have in a week of football, but you've never exposed your bankroll.
Yeah, that's huge.
One day.
That is a huge advantage.
You know, other things to look at, college basketball. You know, NBA is a total different handicap.
82 games, it's a different animal.
We're talking about college basketball. These teams play now generally about 30 games a year now, the
With
college
all them
teams.
Invitational, sure.
They don't bring it every day.
No.
And
they don't have to bring it every day. Unlike college football where every game matters, in college basketball, every game doesn't matter. You're still going to make the tournament because 64 teams make it.
In essence, this is really extreme, but in essence, you could go through your conference tournament winless. Your conference scheduled winless. Get into the conference tournament and catch fire for 4 games,
and you got an automatic bid,
and you're in the big dance. So you're always in it. It's a great situation that keeps everybody live.
I love basketball.
One of the angles, we're about out of time. Watch a lot of TV. You can see a lot of games on TV. You'll see smaller schools on TV, and a lot of times these teams don't perform well the game before on TV or the game after because they're not used to it. 10 minutes just flew by.
At a time. How does my Texas future look now?
Great. Yeah, that was a great call. What odd did you get that at?
That team might not even lose. I don't even remember. I put the ticket away, and that's why I said I got to go back and
you got to go look at it.
I know it was high. I know it was good odds. At least 10-1.
I got to close this up. He's a Vegas runner. I'm Marco D'Angelo. This has been the basketball preview from pregame.com.